My name's Michaela Wetherell. I'm a curator from Sunderland. I work pretty much all over the Northeast, but I am a freelancer and I'm also the curator and marketing manager at Platform A Gallery in Middlesbrough. And my freelancing is mainly about underrepresentation in the arts. So I do a lot about women artists, worked with disabled artists, and now kind of going into like a working class narrative in the exhibitions.
Great, interesting. I'm particularly interested in this working class thing. I've been talking quite a bit recently to people about fetishization of the working classes, but also, you know, arts funding. When it asks that question, do you come from a working class background? And the implications of that. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now with underrepresentation of working class.
It came from these kind of conversations where it's like in a job application, it'll say we want people of color, we want disability, we want this, and that's brilliant. That's amazing that they've actually started doing that. And then it'll say at the end, and or working class. And I'm like, how do you prove that you're working class? Like, I have a thick accent. Does that mean that I'm right for the job? Like, is it what my parents did? Is it like, I find it very hard because I would say I'm from a working class background, but my working class background is completely different to say like my partner's working class background. And I like to the discussion of like, well, if you like work in the arts, you've got an education. Does that mean you've been knocked out of this narrative? So the next exhibition I'm doing, it's called "What Does It Mean to Be Working Class?" and it's 5 artists who are just going to explore it in the work. Because I don't know if I know what you mean with the fetishization of it. It's like this poor, like, oh, you're poor, great, let's show you off. This kind of like poverty porn of stuff. So I don't know what the answer is really, but I just want to explore it of like for people to tell the stories of, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should we just, because there's a lot of working class artists up here, so you know we're surrounded by it, but maybe in London it's completely different. So that's kind of what I'm trying to explore in it, mainly for myself too, because I love anything about identity and in the arts especially. So I think it's a nice way of wiggling it in.
Yeah, really be really interested to see the results of that. And I'm also interested to like, I'm pretty much at the end of the 6-month interview process.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to have a look at my own demographics and see you know, the age range, the gender range, you know, BAME people, like disabled people with disabilities, see how that comes out. I think without trying, you know, awareness of it, but not kind of pushing it too hard, I think we've done really well, because I think that we are quite conscious of it in Teesside.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just fallen in with the right people.
Yeah.
The Disconsortians. Do you know Disconsortia and Little Cog?
Yes, a lot on Twitter I've seen throughout this lockdown, so that's great.
Yeah, so terrific. So be interested to see that analysis. So, so have you always been involved with the arts? Did you come from a creative background? How did you get involved in the first place?
Just really loved art in school. Never good at it at all. Went completely left it when I went to college, and then realized it's kind of the only thing I can do. Yeah, I know now, but like back then, years ago, I didn't realize like I'm dyslexic and just it's not my academia and stuff. But then I went to do uni and did art history. I really can't remember why I got into curating. I think it was probably because I couldn't draw or paint or do anything like that. But I loved the art world and I loved learning about it. And I loved stories behind art. And then I was thinking, oh, curators do that when I found out what a curator was and was like, that's what I want to do. And then just went to uni, slowly started volunteering. Used to volunteer at Vane in Newcastle, did a little internship at Mima, just kind of getting myself out there to figure out how you do it, really. Did a few shows, started in Middlesbrough. I was part of this thing called the Emerging Curators, which was run by Mima. And started there, met some people there, did some exhibitions, and then decided, right, this is it. This is what I want to do with my life. Went back to uni to do my MA in curating. And then that was kind of like a big shock because at the end, I always knew it was never going to be like, oh, here's a job. Here's a job for you. I knew I was going to work like really hard to get it. But after uni, I was just like, no one's going to give us a curating job. I was going down the feminist route too, like about feminist art. No one's going to go, he's a feminist curating job. There you go. So I just decided, that's it. I'm going to have to do it myself. So my first proper show was a show called Tell Her Story. And basically, I just started talking to artists. And they were like, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk to this person. And I talked to an artist called Carol Summer, who I don't know if you know her. She's amazing. She works with Navigator North, and I can't remember the group that you have. And they just had a show at the Boards. I'll remember.
Okay. So where is she based?
I think she's based in Darlington.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'll come. Blimey, that's it. Blimey, they're a brilliant group. I'm sorry, Carol, if you watch them. And anyway, she said to me, go talk to Stephen Whitebear, who runs the Darlington exhibitions and collections and that. And we came up with an idea about telling the stories of these forgotten women in their collection. And I got artists to reinterpret these paintings because they just were completely unknown artist, unknown figure. So it was kind of retelling these women's stories. And it kind of just went from there, just talking to people, coming up with ideas. And that was about 4 years ago. And I've just been going up the ladder of what I wanted to do. So I've done exhibitions on craft. I did one last year called Belonging, which again was about identity in a town. And we used Middlesbrough. It was on at the Dorman. And got a job at a place called Thought Foundation, which was in Berkeley. Started working in the cafe there, and then slowly went and turned into the curator there. And then that got us a job at Platform A Gallery. So from then I've just been here, there and everywhere, trying to like figure out and get into this art world.
Brilliant. So hard work, risk taking, like, and you know, just being brave enough to put yourself out there. And it's terrific that it's all worked out for you. All power to you for that.
Thank you.
Well, you know, it is tricky for so many reasons when you're sort of starting out, to overcome all the barriers, and it's great to know that so many people locally have managed to do that.
Yeah, you've got to be really stubborn and just keep going. And I did all this with part-time jobs. Like I used to work at Marxie's for 4 years, used to work at the co-op. Like, so that was keeping me afloat, with also support from my family and me partner, to keep doing it. If I didn't have them, I don't know if I could. I don't have kids either, so kind of the privilege of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very tricky, particularly in the early years. So can you tell me a bit about Platform A Gallery?
Yeah, Platform A started 10 years ago now, the gallery. I think this is the 10th year it'll be open. And it was all just about promoting and presenting artists in like their mid-careers. And because I think a lot of the places up here are still like emerging, because obviously we've got a lot of unis. and just having amazing contemporary art exhibitions in Teesside when there wasn't a lot. You know, the everything that's there now obviously wasn't there 10 years ago. And Tony Charles runs it, and he's an artist himself, and he's been doing it all this time, putting incredible shows, like international artists, like really renowned artists, local artists, all together. And I've just been working there 2 years now, and obviously the last year was COVID, so I didn't spend that much time. So I'm a baby to the place, but it's been amazing. He's really supported me, and I'm still new at this, and he took a chance, and he's kind of developed me. We've been at art gallery, what they're called, art fairs, and I'm learning how to do that. And it's a brilliant gallery. It's on the train station in Middlesbrough, if no one's ever been, and it's just a lovely, beautiful space.
Absolutely, and you know, proper like that part of town seems to be, you know, coming. Everything seems to be moving in that direction again.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see this kind of old town, new town, across the border, you know, over the border thing at play. And let's see what comes of that. As you say, it's really exciting. All the new spaces that have been opening up over the past few years. Really excited to see what happens when we get back out there, because it does seem that most people have you know, done okay with lockdown. They've had time to think about their artistic practice. I think we're all really ready to get back out there now, though.
Oh, I'm dying for it.
Yeah. Talking of which, I guess you know, have to kind of end on that question. How has lockdown affected your work? Have you still been able to do stuff kind of behind the scenes, and have you made plans for when we come out, or are you just kind of taking it a week at a time?
It's been actually all right. Like, it's horrible sitting in the house, but it could be worse. Like, yeah, I should never complain about it. But I used to work at a place called Thought Foundation. Unfortunately, that had to close because of the whole thing. So that's not there anymore, which is really sad, because it was in a little place called Berkeley, and it was just a lovely little cultural escape. And we were doing really nice things there, which hopefully we can do something in the future, but it's kind of on the back burner at the minute. And platform, I wasn't there for most of the last year. We did get to go to Copenhagen though for an art fair, which was brilliant, and an amazing escapism from this nightmare. So we went there in August, and I got back for a couple of months, and then it all just went lockdown for the winter. And my personal practice, I've kind of just adapted it to go online. So I've created a online gallery called Pink Collar Gallery, and that's basically for me to put my own practice out there, to pay artists to do work, which has been great. And I got Arts Council funding to do an exhibition about the working class, so that's coming out in March, and I got 5 artist commissions for that. So that's brilliant. And then after it, hopefully go back to work a platform. And this working class one I want to do, I kind of want to put it in a physical form and kind of continue that conversation. And that's about it, really. I haven't really think that further, because I just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been lovely to meet you in a kind of strange kind of Zoom. And,
Yeah.
I really look forward to when we are out and about, and I'll come down and see you at Platform A.
That would be absolutely brilliant.
All right, take care. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.